We will take today the Bombay Rent Act, and now it is called as the Maharashtra Rent Control Act 2000. Now this Bombay Rent Act has got an history because it is a legislation which was principally or primarily aimed at protecting the tenants in urban area, mostly like Mumbai, Pune, or the cities which are more populated and there is a scarcity of the accommodation. This situation arose especially after the World War II, and the position was such that there were no accommodations available, and whatever the accommodations available, those were given on rent or a lease basis, but those lessees were at the mercy of the landlord, because under the Transfer of Property Act, the leasehold rights can be terminated at any point of time by giving the notice of a 15 days, and also the other grounds like non-payment of rent, etc. So in order to protect the tenants from such whimsical or arbitrary utilization of the rights by a landlord as a lessor, this legislation has been enacted in 1947. So original Bombay Rent Act is 1947. Now it contained a very salutary principle that no tenant shall be evicted unless he commits any of the breaches which are mentioned in earlier section. It was a section 12, or the condition that the landlord bona fide reasonably requires the premises either for his occupation or his family's occupation, or that landlord requires the premises for demolition as ordered by the local authority. And thirdly, if a landlord requires the premises for repairs. But in all these cases, in latter two cases, the premises were to be restored back after repair, or in case of erection, given back to the tenant. So these were the provisions where the tenant could not be evicted unless there are any of these conditions which are satisfied. We will see in detail because that is a replica in 2000 Act also. The other provision in the earlier provision act was default in payment of rent. No tenant can be evicted if there is a default in payment of rent unless the notice is given of a 15 days demanding the rent and he fails to deposit or pay the rent within 1 month of the receipt of the notice. This was a provision under the old act, that is 1947 Act. Why I am telling this? Because there are some proceedings which are still pending in the courts under the old enactment also. Now I will go to the new enactment, what the changes have brought into. So these are the two provisions. Then another provision under the Rent Act is for expeditious recovery of the possession. Now expeditious recovery of the possession for the purposes of the persons who were a military personnel or a retired military personnel who wanted to occupy the premises. Then another is about the scientists working in atomic energy department. Those persons were also of a special category, or the persons who are retired from that department, like Bhabha Atomic Center or Tata Cancer Center. So these persons were given a special expeditious treatment under the old act. Also the category of a license. Now this license is a different than the lease. Ordinary, the difference between the lease and license has taken number of judgments and number of interpretations. But we will not go into the detailed judgments, but we will only see what is the difference for our purpose. Now, in a lease, it is under the Transfer of Property Act. The leasee has the interest in the property, because you understand the jurisprudential concept. What is the ownership? Ownership is a bundle of rights, and in bundle you have got various rights, like right to say, right to occupy, right to give on the lease, and right to enjoy as a lessee. So lessee will be one of the rights which are given by the owners from the bundle of rights. So interest is created in the property in case of a lease. Whereas in case of a license, the situation is a different. It is not a part of the Transfer of Property Act. It is not treated as a transfer of property. It is treated as only a right to enjoy the property at the will or wishes of the licensor. So it is a temporary use of the premises. I will give the example which is a very easy to understand. You go to the cinema theater, you buy a ticket, and you are given a license to sit there for 3 hours. So this is called a license. After 3 hours, your authority or your right to sit or occupy that chair comes to an end. So as a license, you have to vacate. So this is how the leave and license is there. Now under the rent, there was a situation wherein number of premises were kept vacant by the landlords in metro cities or cities which are developing like Pune, Mumbai, Nashik, Solapur, Kolhapur, Sangli, where the people thought that instead of giving to a tenant on rent, where I don't get the possession, because the tenant have got a special protection under the Rent Act. So I will keep the premises vacant. I will not let out. I don't want to take a risk of losing my premises and going to the court to get back the premises when I want. In order to help in such a situation to the landlords and also the persons who want the premises, the separate chapter is added of a leave and license in the old act. And under the leave and license, you can make an agreement of leave and license for a residential premises. And after that agreement is made, registered, and the licensee occupies the premises, suppose he doesn't vacate the premises or doesn't pay the license fee, then the special provision is made under the Rent Act where summary eviction of such person is contemplated or is allowed. And that is again a separate authority is established for these three categories. That is for a person in a military, persons who are in an atomic department or a scientist, or the persons who are a licensor and there is an agreement of a license between the licensor and licensee which is registered, then they can take the possession through the competent authority, which is a separate authority, authority which sits separately in Pune. The authority's place is Maharashtra Housing Board's office at the Pune camp near railway station. So these are the separate provisions which are made. Now under the Rent Act, there is an appeal provided to the district court. I am just giving the paraphrase of the entire enactment. And after the district court decides, it is treated as a final order and judgment where there is no appeal provided further or no revision. However, as you know, Article 227 of the Constitution of India empowers the High Court to control or have a supervisory jurisdiction over the lower courts. And under that jurisdiction, the High Court can interfere with the finding of a district court under these Rent Act matters. Now, this is how the scheme of the Act is there. Now turning back to the new enactment. Now under the new enactment, what are the major changes which are brought? That also have to be taken into consideration, and we will see in detail because this considers the last enactment also. Now three important parts. Now it is applicable to whole of the Maharashtra and to the Schedule 1 areas or cities. Schedule 1 areas, cities, I will give example. They will be Pune, Mumbai, Thane, Kolhapur, Sangli, Nashik. So which are urban cities and mostly populated, those cities are included in Schedule 1. It is at the discretion of the government, state government, that there can be addition to these cities, and there is a separate Schedule 2 provided where this list is again separate, and there the state government can apply the provisions of these acts to those cities or tier 3 cities, which are small cities, which doesn't have a larger population. There is no scarcity of accommodation as it is in the Mumbai, Pune, Nashik, Sangli, etc. Then those cities can be added. That is the application of the act. Then we come to which are exempted, which are to whom the act is not applicable. This is important. This is a new change. Now, act is not applicable, firstly, to the lease to the government or by the government. So to that, Rent Act is not applicable. The protection is not available. Second category is to the companies or corporate houses whose paid up capital is more than 1 crore. So if it is a public limited company or a company of whom the paid up capital is more than 1 crore, and that company takes a premises on a lease, to that lease, the Rent Act will not be applicable. So that is another provision. If the company lets out or company takes on lease, to that the Rent Act will not be applicable. Similarly, it will not be applicable to the corporations, public undertakings, or the government companies. Which are the government company? For example, Steel Authority of India, or such other, that is the warehouses or the banks, Reserve Bank, national banks, which are established under the Banking Regulation Act. So these are treated as a separate categories. However, if the premises are allotted by government with a permission to construct a building on the premises, building is constructed and let out, then to that lessee, the provisions of the Rent Act are applicable, because we recognize that for a superstructure, the government may not be the owner, is not the owner. If a superstructure is owned by a person who constructs on this plot. So that is why this distinction is made, and to that the separate exception clause is carved out in application of the Rent Act or rent control legislation. Now this goes to the application of the Act. Now coming to the section which is the definitions. I will not be dealing with all the definitions. We will be dealing with the 3 definitions or 4 definitions at the most. The first is, who is a landlord? What is the definition of a landlord? Now you will say it is a very simple definition. Who owns the land? Who owns the building? Who owns that particular place or apartment or a building? And who lets out it? It is a landlord. He is a landlord. No, this is not a correct definition. The definition is enlarged, and this definition includes a person who collects the rent. He may be collecting from some other person. He may be a rent collector. In short, a rent collector is a landlord under the Rent Act. So this rent collector or a person collecting the rent on behalf of trust, or a person collecting a rent on behalf of the owner who may be residing outside Pune in overseas, he will become the landlord. So this is how the definition of a landlord is given under the old as well as the new act, which is a quite enlarged definition. Now third is a definition of a tenant. Now this will be important because what do you understand by a tenant has got a ramifications after the death of a tenant or a succession to the tenant. Then who will become the tenant? Because you know nowadays in a family there are a father, wife, husband, wife and 3 sons and a daughter. The husband or a father had taken the premises on a rent. Now they all educated, born, brought up maybe at the said premises which was taken on rent. Subsequently, that father dies, then what is the status of a tenancy? Who is a tenant? That we'll have to understand. Now, tenant as per the definition or as which is quite parallel to that of a landlord, the person who is occupying the premises and who is paying the rent. So this will be a simple definition of a tenant. However, the Rent Act legislation has also provided for the eventuality in case of the death of a tenant or in case of the eventuality which happens normally that a tenant, original tenant has died. The rent is being